Well, Pezza, we are just a few days away from the 2023 World Cup, and today we are talking about the hosts, India. Has any country needed a win in the history of the game more than what India, the host nation, does this time? They fucking need a win.
That's the story of this World Cup. Like for India, home comforts versus home pressures.
Yeah.
You know, what wins out? India, complete team. Yep. Every base covered. But also there's an election. And victory is expected. Not only that, they're playing for the future of the format.
Right, okay.
Itself.
Yep.
There is a large boulder hanging around the neck of
lot
Bharat
of pressure on these blokes now.
Sundaresan.
That's right. They have announced their squad. Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill, Kohli, Shreyas Iyer, KL Rahul's going to be the wicketkeeper, as is, I suppose, Ishan Kishan, Pandya, Jadeja, Shardul Thakur, Jasprit Bumrah, Kuldeep Yadav, Mo Siraj, Suryakumar Yadav, Mo Shami, and R. Ashwin sneaks his way back in to the side as well. TJC is brought to you by Cricket.com. You can download the Cricket.com app right now for everything you've ever needed heading into this World Cup. In a cricket sense, I don't think you do like necessarily shopping on there, sort of get like an Uber Eats sort of style thing.
Food and shelter.
Cricket.com. Go and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. Cricket.com/TV in the old YouTube search engine there, Pezza. One thing about India as well is they've actually played heaps of ODI cricket over the course of the last sort of 12 months, more than what other countries have. And in that time, a lot of their like first team players have actually played, whereas like you notice in England especially, they haven't really taken the format seriously since they won the thing in 2019. Shubman Gill has scored the most runs out of anyone in the history of the sport. He scored 1,400 runs, averaging 64. He may well be the best batter in ODI cricket at the very minute. He's in the conversation for that anyway. Other teams have other good players too, but he right now is fucking red hot. Ishan Kishan, who might not even play in the side, he scored 750 runs, averaging 50. Obviously, Kohli, maybe the greatest ODI player to ever play the game. Mo Siraj, Kuldeep Yadav, Shardul Thakur, have all taken heaps of wickets in the last year. So these guys that will play have done heaps of good things. And so there's lots of form heading into the World Cup, which means they must win every game by an innings. Thoughts?
Their batting is out of this world, really, and in home comforts.
Yeah.
You look at every player and you can see them dominating the tournament.
Yep.
But it's the whole thing is so fickle. 4 weeks ago, a lot of people thought that India were probably sitting underneath a couple of the other big teams.
A rung below?
A rung below. I'll take that. I will. But yeah, like the criticism was that none of the batters bowled.
Yeah.
Jadeja's unders with the bat.
Yeah.
Not penetrating with the new rock. It's Kuldeep, all that. And then their form leading in or post that period has just been exceptional. Australia's definitely played them into form.
That's right. That's right.
Jasprit Bumrah's back.
Yeah.
He seems to connect it all.
Yeah, Bumrah seems huge, a huge inclusion.
And it's bases covered stuff as well. You know, like it's angles of spin. It's different all-rounders who can come into play. Spare bats, Ishan Kishan, Sky's probably outside the 11 at the moment.
Yep.
Not a bad spare to have. He'll have his way in the tournament at some point.
Yeah.
Mo Siraj, power play wickets.
Yep.
And now, much to my chagrin as an Australian, ahead of the first game in Chennai, Ravichandran Ashwin's been picked. The guy will do damage.
Yes.
He just does. That's what he does. So India's looking pretty good for me. I'm thinking, it's hard to see them not succeeding in this tournament.
I think them and England are the only two teams that I can fairly confidently say that like it's going to be in the final four. I think the other two spots is much more open for discussion with that. But and so you think automatically they're going to be there or thereabouts.
Yeah.
Obviously they won the Asia Cup where guys have just done amazing things. You mentioned Mo Siraj, who took 6 for 21 in the final of that game against Sri Lanka. Then they beat Australia 2-1, and I think so much of this tournament piece is going to be like, okay, what are the players' form in India? What does that team play like in India? Now, check the stats. India, turns out their form in India quite good in India.
Wow.
That does help.
Thanks for checking.
Yeah, and what I like about the spinners, Pez, that it's always at the stumps. You know, like Kuldeep Yadav is going to be probably their most important spinner, if not bowler entirely, though Jasprit Bumrah is obviously just an absolute fucking worldie. But it's like it's left arm spin and it's always at the stumps. He's obviously got a sensational wrong one, but it's with Jadeja, Ashwin, and Kuldeep Yadav. It's at the stumps relentlessly, you know what I mean? Like it's even Axar Patel, who isn't in the squad before, and he's played a role where it's at the stumps. And I wonder if that's why Chahal hasn't been picked over the last sort of 12, 24 months. I keep talking about Chahal, but it's at the stumps. And like whilst other teams have great spinners, leg spin, for instance, doesn't really seem to play that well in India, whereas Kuldeep, obviously left arm wrist spinner, again at the stumps with a bit of deception in a wonderful wrong. And so if their bowling is their weakness, or the balance of the side is the weakness, because the all-rounder apart from Hardik sort of misbalances the side a little bit. Their players 1 through 11 are so fucking good that it doesn't really matter if you don't have 4 all-rounders like other teams do.
Yeah. I suppose you mentioned Chahal there. I think the main reason he missed out is because of his batting capability.
Right.
And he also struggles or gets further let down because he's also around a couple of other guys who don't have both skills either. If there's any criticism of the India side, and there's England criticism later, don't worry. I think Axar being out through injury hurts him a little bit with some lower order runs. I just think after Jadeja at 7, you get 8 onwards is not as strong as other teams, but I'm working hard to find a weakness there. I think the main pressure on India is going to be the expectation of the nation and its elites.
I genuinely believe that's the biggest weakness, the amount of pressure that they have to literally must win this tournament. Like,
we'll look at our comments, mate, like on YouTube, and when things aren't going well for India and the Indian fans are kind of lamenting what has gone wrong before, it tends to be this idea that like when the pressure is on in an ICC tournament, the team tends to wilt. There isn't a tournament trophy since 2011, which frankly isn't good enough for India. Now, the entire stage is set. I mean, physically, the stage is actually set. Geographically, economically, socially, politically. The stage is set for this team. Like the last team that won in 2011 unleashed, like godlike status on MS Dhoni. The opportunity here is like, who will emerge as the next god if you can bring home the World Cup for India as the champion. And there are guys there that of course, will want that desperately. I mean, the one thing going against Virat this tournament is that he's 200s away from Sachin, and he's actually not allowed to get that.
He's not allowed to get it.
So he's going to have to score highly without going all the way there, which could actually benefit India, given that he slows down. But who doesn't? And why wouldn't you? So, I think all roads point to India in that Ahmedabad final.
Yes.
I noting Harsha on CricBuzz saying as well that he in his instinct they may struggle to chase big totals, not really having a bit. But once we get into that, the X's and O's of that, I don't really know what to say or contribute, because that's like 2 months away and people are going to go in and out of form 10 times before then.
I mean, the amount of games in the World Cup is like, does anyone ever have a great... Like, to win the World Cup, you're going to play 11 games.
Yeah.
So, like, who's in form for 11 games in ODI cricket?
You want to start badly.
Exactly. To that end, their first game is against Australia, so that'd be ideal. So their first 3 games, Australia... Then in Chennai, then they go to play against Afghanistan in Delhi, and then they play Pakistan at Ahmedabad on the 14th of October. So those are the first 3 games. So 2 of their first 3 games are against teams that you would think, well, bare minimum expectations for them to make the final. So, and this is the thing about like just making that final 4. It doesn't really matter 1 through 4 where you finish necessarily, though. Of course, the pressure will be to win every game, but I think it's only Australia that's ever done that, where they've won every game in the tournament. I mean, India have the capability to do that in terms of the strength and quality of player they have. I do think their weakness is the pressure. They lose 1 game and it's going to be, let's fucking make massive changes. Also, Rahul Dravid, the coach, Rohit Sharma, the captain, since they have taken over from the Shastri Kohli era, hasn't quite worked out for them. Every time India come into a major tournament, they are one of the favourites, if not the favourite, and it's never worked out for them, because teams somehow like New Zealand Zealand come up and just and seem to play so well against India. So I guess what I'm saying is India can win if they just avoid New Zealand.
Who's your guy? I mean, looking at 1 through 11, the Indian side, like who's going to emerge for you as like, holy shit, I'm having a fucking divine orgasm looking at what they've done for the Bharat nation.
Shubman, I can say Shubman.
You think this is Shubman's time?
I think it's going to be Shubman Gill's tournament. Yep. You know, we have seen sort of World 11s put out from networks. You know, of the 11 players
Tune
available.
into the main podcast for that one.
And there's a whole heap of people in that side for one country. But I think Shubman Gill is genuinely, he's a guy that I can see scoring double hundreds in the World Cup.
Yeah, you think he? So
When he literally already has a double hundred in ODI cricket. He scored 600s, I think, in 30 something games. So
it's his turn to like he has arrived, but to you know get to the front of the queue.
yeah.
Yeah,
What
so
do you think?
I never want to go past, you know, Virat. I still think he looks at this and goes like, well, this is me. This,
I mean,
you know,
pretty
like
hard to go against
2011 it was Dhoni, you know, late
Yep.
years Tendulkar time. Now it's back in
Oh
India.
my God, how much is he going to want it?
Oh, it's
'Cause
just
we-
like Virat's got to be like, this is about me. I am him. You know, for
Yeah.
the tournament.
Yeah.
I can look. I'm being greedy, going for 2. Like I think Hardik Pandya is a big game player. He's big. I think he can carry India.
And if he's bowling as well, like
man.
if he's on bulk overs, then he's a key part
I
of that
could see
side, yeah.
Hardik carrying them. I would love to see like Virat just ice the whole thing.
Yeah. Oh, fucking hell.
Yeah, that would be hot.
I'm seeing how much he wants LBW appeals. So how much he would want a home World Cup. I mean, fuck, that is next level.
Mate, and the best level for this World Cup, and I cannot, like, this is my call for this World Cup.
Okay.
This must be, to use the colloquial term endorsed by at least one of his family, the Mancad World Cup.
Okay.
How can it not be the non-striker run-out World Cup? All the people who have been for that mode of dismissal,
Yeah.
included equally in the laws with every other dismissal,
Right.
To the proponents of it.
Yeah.
How can this not be the real arrival?
Yes.
You know, forget Shubman, forget Hardik, forget Virat. This is the Vinu Mancad dismissal World
God.
Cup. Imagine
It's what he
a
would've
World
wanted.
Cup won with that dismissal. There should be 3 to 5 attempts of this dismissal every game. I'm serious.
Yeah.
It's not my preferred mode of dismissal.
For you?
For me
if you had
personally.
first choice. That wouldn't be your first choice.
No, for me, I appreciate it's in the laws. I just think it's a bad law. I don't
Yeah.
think.
Sure.
Spirit, forget. Let's see some of that as well.
Yep.
Let's see some of that as well.
Okay, now we've spoken about who your best player is. Who's your worst player?
Star Sports cricket coverage.
Oh, well,
Joking.
another contract lost.
Well, what's new?
Let us know in the comments who your worst player. No, don't do that. That's our preview for India. Ahead of this World Cup. More coming on the channel this week. And of course, if you are brand new to TJC, why not click subscribe for all the coverage here after the big moments, the big matches, the big days play, the big Mancads at this World Cup. See you soon.